Good evening, listeners. Tonight I'm talking about a moment that reshaped 20th century art and still sparks debate today: Marcel Duchamp's 1917 Urinal, famously titled Fountain Slash. It's a story that begins in the summer of 1917 when Duchamp, working as a dry cleaner for his brother, decided to challenge the conventions of visual culture. He chose a porcelain urinal, an everyday object, and turned it into a sculpture. He labeled it Fountain, a simple, almost clinical title that seemed to underscore his ironic intent. The piece was submitted to the Independent Artists Exhibition, a show that promised a more democratic approach to art. Yet the curators rejected it outright, deeming the urinal a vulgarity that had no place on the gallery walls. When Alfred Stieglitz photographed the discarded work, his photograph framed the piece fronted by a Marsden Hartley painting. That image captured the moment between the bureaucratic dismissal of an avant-garde creation and its stubborn emergence into public consciousness. Duchamp's gesture was more than a prank, it was a radical statement about the nature of art itself. By situating a mundane object within the formal context of sculpture, he forced viewers to reconsider what could be considered an artwork. The series, Is Art Defined by Its Function, or by the Concept Behind It? Duchamp's urn-like urinal cut its teeth in one controversial moment, a moment the art world and the public remember to this day. Fast forward, the piece has become a touchstone for contemporary artists who question institutional authority. Every generation, from the surrealists to postmodern activists, references Duchamp's uproar. Teachings of what a sculpture can be leapt from an imagined industry that has been fossilized by its own institutional frameworks, opening doorways for new and provocative forms of expression. The legacy of Fountain extends far beyond the gallery. Academics, artists, and even everyday collectors debate its legitimacy, and the royalties it has accrued speak to the enduring power of challenging normalcy. Even now, in a digital age of remixing and copy and paste, Duchamp's piece reminds us that the most powerful creations often come from the real-world objects that we normally leave untouched. It's a reminder that art is a conversation, a dialogue between the creator, institutions, and audiences that pushes boundaries and stirs debate. Even the question of whether a urinal with a printed label can be called art still appends as a living question mark in today's culture. In that way, a single object continues to live in the public sphere, both through the walls of museums and the collective imagination. To end, let's remember the genesis of a piece that dared to ask, what is art? And what is the role of the audience? When Duchamp turned a bathroom fixture into a masterpiece, he opened a new dialogue that remains unfurled today. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week for more stories that keep turning the world on its head.